Happy Sunday, everyone. We hope you're having a great day. I'll chat for a little bit before I jump into our presentation because I know we've got a few folks that are interested in joining us live today. It's a cooler weekend than we have experienced. Activity has sort of fluctuated a little bit at the feeders with the weather changes, and of course it's nesting season. So with nesting season, birds are busy. They are building their nest. They're feeding their young. Many of us have already started to see fledglings arriving at our feeders. And it's a really exciting time. I have to say my favorite fledgling visitors are the woodpeckers, who should be here in the next couple of weeks. So it's always neat to watch the feeders and see if you can determine the young from the adults. Couple tricks, of course, is to watch their behavior. Fledglings will beg, so you'll often see them with their mouths open. They might have their wings kind of fluffing out. That begging behavior, of course, is going to give it away. They might look a little different, but don't let size fool you. They will be the same size as the parents. They might even look a little bigger because their feathers are going to be new and fluffy, and their parents are going to be, far more aged looking, especially the cavity nesting birds that are going in and out of their little cavities. So I can see we've got some nuthatches coming to the feeders, and they're looking pretty rough these days. So keep your eye open for fledglings. And I will tell you, if you're seeing some new birds at your feeder that are maybe a bit loud, quite a few of them, kind of a brownish gray color, look up what a juvenile European starling looks like. Everyone's seeing them at their feeders right now. So get to know what they look like. That mystery bird that you're seeing could very well be a young starling. All right, so here we are, end of May, and we are seeing lots of grackles, starlings, maybe red-winged blackbirds at our feeders. A bird is a bird. They love food, and sometimes these birds can bring in a bit of a crowd, or they might hog the feeders and not let other birds in. So we get a lot of calls and emails and Facebook messages and questions from customers wondering what they can do to try and either have these birds move along or slow down at the feeder. So we thought it would be helpful to do a short Facebook Live video to talk about some tips we have to share with all of you to maybe try and encourage these birds to slow down or find greener pasture. So first I'll show you what these birds might look like, just so you're familiar. Here we have our common grackle. So, relatively the same size as a blue jay, has that beautiful blue iridescent head. Now you will see when these juveniles arrive, they're going to be all brown with a brown eye. So another little tip to be able to distinguish apart. I can see the ones at my feeders, not any juvenile yet. They're still nesting. Actually, one was collecting nesting material yesterday. So that's the common grackle. Then we have the red-winged blackbird. And you can see here on the bottom how different the female looks from the male. That's another photo we often see is, I have this different looking bird. Looks like a big sparrow. Oftentimes it's a female red-winged blackbird. And then European starling. And here you can actually see on the bottom there a photo of a juvenile. So if they kind of have that little bit of a dark mask around the eye, that could very well be a juvenile starling at your feeder. And they keep their parents very busy. If you're seeing them, they're quite entertaining to watch. So, of course, you're probably seeing the foods that they love to eat. So if you're offering sunflower seed, if you're offering peanuts out of the shell, you're probably seeing that they love that. They love suet. Really, peanuts are their favorite, particularly with starlings. So it's important to know what they love, and then maybe know some foods that they don't love as much. So you could always have a section of your yard that might be a little bit more exclusive to the starlings, the blackbirds, the grackles, and maybe another area of the yard that will continue to invite the other songbirds that visit your yard. So we know what they love, but there is some food they don't love, and that would be safflower seed. So I'm going to hold up what it looks like, and you'll be able to see it through the side of the cup. So this is a white shelled, slightly smaller than black oil sunflower seed. And what's different about it is it has a hard shell, and the blackbirds have a really hard time cracking that. So they're not overly interested in safflower seed. Another bonus is squirrels don't tend to care for it. Chipmunks do. So, you know, it has its advantage there as well, that the squirrels don't seem to like it all that much also. So it's a nice option if you have it on the ground, on a tray feeder on the ground, that you'll see a nice variety of birds on the ground, but also the squirrels won't be interested in that. So that is our white safflower seed, and nutritionally, it's very much the same as black oil sunflower seed. Now, another seed that we've just recently brought in, moving into blackbird season, our team was really excited to try it, is our golden safflower. So here you can see the difference is the color is darker. Now, golden safflower has a thinner shell, so it seems to be enjoyed a little more by our local birds. So I have tried safflower, the white safflower, in a cylinder form, and in my yard, it didn't get a lot of excitement. Probably about a week or two before we started to see some of our birds coming to it. Now, when I offered the golden safflower, it was immediately taken to, particularly by the chickadees. My cardinals were eating it. So I was really excited to see the results I had from the golden safflower. That being said, I always love to share experiences from our staff as well. And Ian, who has started offering white safflower seed, says that's what his birds love, where the golden wasn't as much of a hit. So, you know, part of the fun of feeding the birds is trying different food products and experimenting. And we always say it's, you know, it's quite playful. Like, you know, we bring in a new product and we're excited to share it with the birds and see what they think. So, you know, we encourage the same for you. Try something. If it doesn't go overly well, try something different. One thing you might find is you might need to offer it half and half. So maybe if you're going to start with some safflower seed, maybe mix it half and half with the seed you're already offering. You may find that the Grackles will come along and just scratch everything out, trying to find what they want. So that might not work overly well for you. But that might be something you need to do to help transition your birds to eat it. Now, who eats safflower seed in our yards? Well, certainly cardinals love it. Chickadees, nuthatches, woodpeckers, purple finch love it as well. So a nice variety of our local birds will take to it. So that's what the safflower seed looks like. You can put this in a tube feeder, in a hopper, a tray. So really any type of feeder that you're currently offering your seed blend in, you can use your safflower seed in as well. So that's safflower seed. It's funny, eh, Josh? They're mowing the lawn. It's it's a bit of a thing. As soon as we get on a live video, the neighbor starts up the lawnmower. So I hope my volume is okay. So loose seed. Safflower is available in 5, 10, and 20, and our new golden safflower is available in 5 or 20-pound bags on our website. And you will hear me say golden safflower and Nutrisaf, same product. Golden safflower also is a bit higher in nutritional value, so that may be also why the birds really love it. So not only is it available in loose seed, we also have it in our seed cylinders. So white safflower, golden safflower, or Nutrisaf, both available in seed cylinders. So when I had the white safflower cylinder out, it took a couple weeks before my birds really took to it, as I mentioned, where this one, it was out and I could immediately see where the chickadees were hanging off the cylinder and just pecking little holes right into the cylinder to take the seed out that's inside. So you do need the shell on the safflower seed because that's what's helping to keep the blackbirds from moving along. Another seed that we carry in a 5-pound bag is striped sunflower seed. So it's a larger seed compared to the black oil. This is a good solution for starlings. Grackles will certainly still eat this, so if you're dealing with a lot of starlings, this might be an option. Grace has this in one of her tray feeders, and it's been doing a great job at keeping the starlings at bay. So that's what we have for food. So let's talk about feeders. So certainly my favorite feeder would be our eliminator. I've stolen this from my birds, so we'll have to give it back to them pretty soon. But our eliminator feeder, as you can see, wonderful size, holds 5 pounds of bird seed. It's got squirrel proof, obviously, so when the birds the squirrels put their weight on it, it will close where the weight of the birds will not. But it is weight adjustable. And that's what makes it so wonderful when you have larger birds, such as grackles, coming to your eliminator feeder, and you might want to slow them down. So taking the top off, you will look inside and see that there is 3 yellow lines and a red dial. And so if you twist that counterclockwise, it's going to increase the sensitivity so that when a heavier bird, such as a grackle, comes to perch on, it takes less weight to close it. So that's one option to consider with the eliminator. Some other features about the eliminator that I especially love is this cardinal ring, which is wonderful. And now this is one thing to think about, is when you make a feeder less accessible to one species, is you might make it also accessible to a species you hope to attract. So there is a bit of a balance in all of this. But the cardinal ring, which is obviously a nice perch for a larger bird, this can be removed. So you'll have a thumb screw at the bottom, and if you do have an eliminator, I always recommend to frequently check and make sure that stays tight. But for the sake of this, we're going to loosen it slightly. And once that's loosened, you'll be able to put the perches in. And once the perches go in, this ring will come off. So now you have the option, you can leave the perches out so they're a little longer, or you can make the perches shorter. And so by making them shorter, you can see that only a smaller songbird will be able to perch there and eat. So you can make all your perches smaller. Don't forget to tighten it back up again. Or if you really want to make it tricky for them, loosen it up again. Take the perches right out. And by taking the perches right out, you are now making your eliminator completely exclusive to birds that can cling, which is quite a few of the birds that we love to see at our feeders. So that would be our American goldfinch, our chickadees, nuthatches, woodpeckers. So they'll still be able to cling to the side of that feeder and access the food. So that is why I love the eliminator. It's incredibly versatile. Another little feeder we have that's great for clinging birds, as I mentioned, would be our little feeder called the Clingers Only. So you can, again, fill this with any type of seed you like. Our no mess blend, sunflower chips, peanuts out of the shell, they all work well in this little feeder. It is plastic, so I always recommend that this feeder be hung on a feeding station with a baffle, because if this is in a tree, a squirrel can certainly find a way to get the food out of here, whereas many of our other feeders are squirrel resistant, if not squirrel proof. So Clingers Only, if you're looking for this on the website, it will be under specialty feeders, but it is a nice option with a nice price point at $24.99 to have a smaller feeder, again, that's exclusive to the smaller birds. Another fantastic feeder, you should always have one, is a Finch feeder. And I love the Finch feeder because it will continue to attract my small birds. So Right now, my grackle numbers are starting to increase, and what I'm going to end up doing is creating a little bit of a small bird feeding area that's separate from where the grackles will come to eat, and the blue jays and the bigger birds. Because anytime a smaller bird is at a feeder and a larger bird comes, it will often startle it, regardless of what that larger bird is. You know, you'll often even see a big cardinal will come in and might displace the finch. So it just depends what birds are coming. But a finch feeder, this is quite exclusive to finch. And if you pair it with our finch blend, so there's our finch blend, which is a mix of fine sunflower chips and Niger seed, their two favorite foods, you'll actually get a little more variety at a finch feeder than just goldfinch. So of course you'll see purple finch, you'll see chickadees will come. I have downy, I've even had a hairy woodpecker at mine, the nuthatches. And what's so great about a finch feeder when it comes to the blackbirds, it has a very small feeding port, as you can see. So their beaks are too large to be able to access the seed in a finch feeder. So that's why I especially love finch feeders. Let me look here. Another option, if you're offering, you know, your loose seed, you know, our no mess blend is phenomenal. The birds love it. Is adding a cage to your tube feeder. So here you've got your tube feeder in the cage. It's a 1.5 inch hole. So that's going to allow in many of your smaller songbirds that are visiting your yard. So, you know, your sparrows, your finch, chickadees, nuthatch, downy woodpecker. Hairy woodpeckers can probably be able to use their longer beak with their longer tongue to be able to access the seed. So the cages are phenomenal. You know, my dad's yard is of course just overrun with starlings and blackbirds. So all his tube feeders have cages, and every perch is always filled with some sort of small songbird. So it's a lot of activity. So the cages are really great. If you're looking for these on our website, they're going to be under bird feeders and feeder accessories, and they will fit our tube feeders. It just slides through the bottom, and there's a screw that goes into the bottom of the feeder, and then it just slides in and out. So the cages are great for the tube feeders. Just hang that back up. And then Suet, because we all love to keep the woodpeckers happy. And of course, Josh, do you mind grabbing me the log cylinder feeder? I forgot to grab it. So if you love to offer Suet and you're finding that the starlings are just going through it like crazy, you can consider our upside down Suet feeder. So the Suet cake gets dropped in from the top, and it hangs. Kick the woodpecker off the feeder, honey. And it hangs like this, and then the woodpeckers will cling to the bottom. One thing I always have to mention is these are solutions to help, you know, slow the birds down. So they may find a way to get the food. They're very opportunistic. So they will, just like our squirrels, they will think and attempt ways to really find a solution. But by offering Suet in some of our different feeders, this will help to slow them down. So I love adding bark butter to the outside of mine as well. But this is our cylinder log feeder, and the starlings will have a harder time clinging. They're not designed that way. They're a perching bird. So this is another really great option, or our upside down Suet feeder, to try and help slow down the blackbirds when you're feeding Suet. A good question from Tony about, can you still put Suet out in the summer? Absolutely. In the hot months, we actually switch our Suet over to a no melt cake option so that it doesn't soften and melt. And most, like all our bark butter products are no melt, and our Suet cylinders are no melt. So great question. You will see when you're looking at our Suet products, there's a couple varieties. Weather like this, we can still offer, you know, our more traditional Suet, but as the hot weather comes in, I continue to offer Suet right through the summer months because the birds love it. I actually feel like I go through more Suet in the summer because I have that many more woodpeckers in our yard with the fledglings coming soon. So I hope that offers some great tips Do we have any questions, Josh?
Somebody had mentioned about having a tray on inside of the feeder and the birds still being able to...
That's right. So if you have a cage that has a tray on the bottom, the seed will fall and sit in the cage, and then the birds will grab it. So the reason why I prefer to bring in the open bottom is so that the seed doesn't collect in that tray and become another opportunity. So that will kind of help to keep them moving along. And if you have birds that prefer to eat off the ground, that's a great place to put some safflower seed, either down on the ground or in a tray on the ground. So I hope that helped to answer questions you might have. Of course, our team is always here to offer support, particularly during this lockdown. So you can send us a message here on Facebook, email us, call us at the store. Sundays we're closed for curbside pickup, but we'll be back in the store tomorrow. So if you're placing orders today, we will have your order ready for your pickup tomorrow afternoon. So thanks again, everyone, for continuing to support our business, and have a fantastic Sunday. It's beautiful. It's getting warmer. Take care, everyone.